Good morning. This is Patricia Walls and Jennnifer Peacock. Welcome to the Enlightened Path podcast. I think this is episode 14. There has to be some significance to that with Jennnifer. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about her before she starts. So Jennnifer is a registered nurse and blends that knowledge into her non-traditional path of healing to assist others through offering QHHT, Reiki, mediumship sessions, and higher intelligence connections channeling. And she and I were just having a big conversation about that. Should have been recording. She began her spiritual path when she was around 7. She trained in the Reiki knowledge in Hawaii and through the lineage of Dr. Usui and Mrs. Tanaka. I know her as a quiet powerhouse. You won't find much about her on the internet because she's been busy going within to remember her divine gifts and is just now popping her head out every once in a while to help others remember. So I have only known Jennnifer for just a few years. And in those few years, she has just blossomed into something that's kind of hard to describe, her gifts. And so I'm going to let her talk to you about those. And then I'll join in whenever the beings start crowding in my head and say this, say this. So, welcome, Jennnifer.
Thank you so much.
So what do you want to share with us?
Let me start off, I guess, by saying, talking about QHHT, the quantum healing hypnosis technique.
Mhm.
And I feel that I'm a practitioner. You mentioned that. And that has really led me on the direction to hosting the sessions, having my own sessions. I've really gotten to know my inner wisdom, that connection to source, to my guides. I feel like I don't have to have a session now to have that connection with them. I do like 3 breaths and I'm there. It seems like I'm getting information, answers to the questions. So I think that's what I'd like to kind of talk about at first, is building that connection and that relationship with your source, with source being, with the creator, the you that is eternal. So
yeah, because people come to us to connect, right? And for some people, once they get that QHHT session, once they get the rhythm of the connection, they don't need QHHT. And the same thing with getting readings from people, right? I mean, usually, well, for some of us, the readings are only verifying what we already know. But so are you going to share with us your process of connecting?
Oh, sure. So recently I've just been, it's been interesting. There's been a lot of what I would call vibrational shifts that I've been noticing. I know you mentioned the other day that we had a timeline leap.
Yeah.
And I think what I was kind of just contemplating on that, and the answer that I got was, I may be going off course. I don't mean to.
You're never wrong. Okay, you're never wrong.
The answer that I got was that we are constantly going through different dimensions. It's infinite, the amount of just because of our thoughts and our decisions. And so we're each kind of navigating this timeline, but when there's a big one is when a lot of people will notice kind of collectively that there was, oh wow, there's a large shift, and it means different things for different people, or different individually. The shift is different and experienced differently.
And
So-
how do you feel it when you say, I mean, to give people a source of reference. So when you say a big shift, how do you normally perceive it?
Honestly, I hadn't noticed it before. Well, maybe I did, but I feel like I saw this one, and it was when we went, my husband and I and my daughter were driving, and it's like, it just, it was like a burning paper. When it just opened up when we went through, and and there we were. I was told, I asked my guides, my highest self, and my council that I've been working with, what this was about. And they said, it's a lighter density, we're connecting more. So it makes me feel that there were a lot of people that went through that portal.
Yeah.
Maybe not at the exact same time, but
And maybe not consciously, you know?
Yes. Yes.
So what have you noticed in your life since that happened? What's changed in the way that you perceive things? Are you more visual? Are you more intuitive? I mean, how has it changed anything?
Yes, I've been, at first they said, they told me, you better buckle up. It's gonna be a ride. And
Buckle
so-
up, buttercup. Yeah.
Yes. So at first it may have seemed a little rough, but you have to, at least in my experience, you clear out, what's ready to be cleared. So a lot of these emotions that wasn't even consciously aware of were coming to the surface. And had I not been aware of that, I could have just easily gone back into the vibration that I'm used to. But because I am aware and I'm ready to clear, I'm ready to expand, I've been asking, which is a really big thing, is to ask. I was able to clear. I've had a lot of light downloads. They're telling me that you have to, not only your energetic body, but your physical body it needs to be prepared for that energy integration or that vibration integration, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's been lighter. I've been connecting with now. So I didn't realize who I was connecting with, but what I'm being told is I'm being connected with this council. I'm working with it's my team. And I'm directly working with them. It's like they're saying I'm boots on the ground. And I think that each of us are that, working with our team, and we're the ones not down here, but in this density, working through these things. But we all have a team and support network that we may not realize.
Are you conscious of your team, what your team is made up of?
So what I've gotten so far is they call themselves, or at least what I'm getting told is they're called the council, and from what I can tell, it's each of us have a council that we work with, through eternity, as far as I can tell. They're always with us, always working with us. And I'm getting information that we're all one, but one of the other pieces of the council may come down and be incarnated, and we may be up like in the metaphysical world. So it's like we take turns, or we're all down incarnated at once. It could be all different scenarios.
So the beings are reminding me that we are also the council, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you just said that. So sometimes we are in the density
Yes,
and
yes,
but there's still an aspect of us that is on the council that
yes.
we're calling our highest, our source consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've heard people say, well, the information's coming from me, and I've said that too, that my council are higher aspects of me. They're not like outside of me, they're just aspects of me. And
Yes.
so that would make sense, that sometimes that aspect of you would come down into the density and you would be up there. I
Mhm.
like that.
Or more than one aspect can be at a time, and you can each
Right.
be working, constantly working with each other, gaining perspective, experience, expansion,
Uh-huh.
learning for the group as a whole.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
mhm. I've noticed
So
that when I get into this, this when I've been connecting with them, I start doing this thing.
you start vortexing.
Yes. And it feels amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So recently you've been doing channeling more than usual. And channeling in a broader sense, I guess you would say. And so did that come in when you went through that portal, or was it before? I can't remember.
It was more, I was pulled more in that direction. So I've been focusing on what I'm pulled towards, and I just kind of go for it. I what I needed to happen, this process that I've been going through, the mediumship, the QHHT, I had a lot of fear programming that I needed to get out of and move past. And since then, the expansion has just been like,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Way to surrender.
yeah.
So are you, as you're vortexing, is there a message that you have for people who might be watching this?
So one thing I got right before we came on was that they wanted to talk about the and it's a touchy subject, so I'm hesitant to say.
Listen, as I tell people, if you don't want to hear it, keep scrolling, because there are people who need to hear it. So, yeah.
So they were focusing on, I guess I'll just let them talk. We wanted to talk about how the physical body can be one thing. This is a dimension of duality, but the soul is eternal. It's both. It's male and female within each of us. And as you may be noticing that this is coming out more. It's an awakening. It's an evolution that's happening with people, and you see it in different ways. And this is one of the ways that we are evolving, is that we are becoming both male and female within each of us, even though the body would, say otherwise. We're programmed in a way to think that we are one gender when we're actually all.
That makes sense. I mean, because and I don't like the word reincarnate, but it's just a word that's more convenient for more people to understand. So as we reincarnate, we don't always reincarnate as the same gender that we are currently, not even in the same body, right? The same form. And so we are ultimately not male, not female in spirit form. So that is true. And I think that as we become more connected to source, I won't say more enlightened, more connected to source, then then we are dropping the need to identify as masculine or feminine. And that triggers a lot of people. I was just looking at someone's post this morning in reference to that, and I thought, okay, I'm sorry that triggers you, that some of the beautiful beings that are coming onto this planet don't identify as either.
Yes.
And it's because, there, and this may come out in the wrong way, but I'm going to say it anyway. As I said, keep scrolling if you don't want to hear it. Being masculine or feminine, and the what do they call it? The limitations that come with that is a control program, a control mechanism. And I understand that there are times when we come into a feminine body and we come in here to assist some feminine energy on the planet or in the universe. And so it's necessary to come here in that role of mother, because that's what the feminine aspect is. It's the role of mother, the role of nurturer, right? Yes. The masculine energy is the role of protector, enforcer, of what's the other word? Provider. That's the masculine movement. And for some odd reason, the program was for us to come in physical manifestations of those energies. But we are not that. When we are not in these dense third dimensional bodies, we don't have a sex and a gender. I got news for you guys, and you already knew this. We don't have little junk down there. When we're up in spirit, it's not necessary. There's no reason to use it, and so we don't have it. And so,
oh, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, yeah.
You can pull from either vibration to balance it out and work with it, because there are instances where certain vibration is working better for that situation,
right?
For that scenario.
And there are a lot of assumptions as to why people come here, in a masculine third dimensional form that are more of a feminine energy, outward energy. There are a lot of assumptions on that. And I can't even begin to talk on that because it's not my path. But I can understand what your counsel, or I call mine the beings, right? I do understand what they were saying, that we are neither masculine nor feminine, we're both, because we're comprised of everything. And when we're not here in this dense third dimensional body, we are everything. We're not limited to being a man or a woman, And these beings that are coming into the planet now are connected to that. They don't have that program of limitation.
Yes. And there was I think there was a time when it was important for there to be more humans on the planet. I don't know if it was necessarily important, but it happened. But now
because they found out they were masculine or feminine, and they had they had parts that needed to go together. I don't know.
But now
and it became fun. So
so it's been really nice to just experience this vibration, this channeling. And I really do believe that everybody has the capability to connect directly with their support network. And it's just a beautiful process to undertake, I guess. um oh, there was something else I was going to say. I've been feeling this bliss energy. And so I was just sitting there the other day, and I'll feel this energy going through what I guess is my chakras. Seems like it's my spinal column, and it's just this light. And then I noticed that energy came in, and I saw it as this sparkling white light. I never noticed the sparkles before. And it just makes me laugh or giggle because it's just overwhelmingly, I don't even have the word for it.
So when people say you're all bubbly, that maybe that's what because everybody is not visual, right? But sometimes we just know what we know. So I'm wondering if when people describe someone as being bubbly, if they're actually unconsciously seeing that in that person.
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
so. That is what it looked like. It looked like it was carbonated, but with glitter.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a thought. I'm going to pay attention next time, but somebody says, you're all bubbly,
Yes. And I think that is being channeled through me. In the morning, I'll say, I surrender to my highest will. I forgive all in all times, all places. Show me what it feels like to have joy in my life. Show me what it feels like to experience the mysticism of everything. And the more that I ask, I've given. It's like, it's so amazing. And they say that that's all you have to do is ask.
That's a great way to start the day. Yeah.
Yes, it's going to be given to you. So what you ask for, the intuition, or that not the intuition, the intention of which you're choosing to do everything is of paramount importance for the experience. So that's been amazing. That bliss energy. I don't know what else to call it, because it feels so
and I
good.
forgot to mention that you are another of our community. I guess I'm going to say our community, our circle, who has come online with your remembrance of the language of light. So how is it manifesting for you, the language of light?
So mostly it's in song form. I actually usually have a song singing in the back of my head at almost all times.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I remember whenever you channeled for me, there was a song. There was a song that was provided. Yeah. And it was beautiful. Do you feel comfortable in sharing a song with us? Sharing some transmissions?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
And they say that it's encoded. I don't know exactly what that means, but that's what they're telling me.
Well, light language is frequencies, codes, downloads of information, alignments. So yeah, yes. codes in verbal form, they say.
Yes, yes. Olie mia mia, olie mia Oh, 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 yeah. That's pretty much what's going through my mind all the time.
I muted my microphone so there wouldn't be any background noise. That was beautiful. It's always beautiful.
Thank you.
And so because you are also a visual person.
Absolutely.
Do you see anything happening when you are sending out those codes? Are there any visuals?
Yes, right before I started seeing this, I'll usually, well, I see in all different things, but specifically codes, I'll see in these geometric patterns, and they're moving, and a lot of times they're moving in a, like, those things where you put pennies in and it goes like around it's kind of moving like that, in a way. And another thing is, what I've been told is really important, is the sun gives us codes constantly. And it is so important for us to be out in the sun, not only to spend time out there, but to eat foods that are encoded with the light.
Right.
Well,
so live foods,
yes.
yeah.
And
I can
if you
see
have
that.
a choice,
Yeah, the live foods is important.
What has the choice, the better choice is what has the most light codes in it, direct light codes from the sun.
Yeah. And I've heard people say that before, to eat vegetables and fruits that are really bright in color.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm a Louisiana girl and I love potatoes, okay? But potatoes are nightshades. Potatoes are grown under the earth, in the earth, right? And as a type O blood type, I've read that potatoes aren't good for me, but you tell that to my, cultural body. So I can see that eating fruits and vegetables that are in direct sunlight would make a difference to your body. Yeah.
It's all encoded with that frequency, and I wouldn't have been aware of that per se, except for there was one time a while back we were visiting Hawaii again, and I just happened to have this overwhelming feeling of, which I think we are always in this, but it was this overwhelmingly feeling of being in the perfect space at the perfect time. And I just closed my eyes and the sun was like directly there. So I started getting these codes from the sun itself. And then it just kind of expanded from there. But yeah, that was really neat.
Well, because we talked before on the podcast with other people, and you and I talked privately about it, about the dropping the codes thing, right? And that and it's not just me, it's not just you that's dropping the codes, it's birds that's dropping the codes.
Yes.
It's butterflies as they move from place to place, they're dropping codes. Absolutely. So the sun is doing it as well, and depending on what location you're in, I would think that the code may be different.
Oh, yeah. I could see that. Maybe the time of year also,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
the angle.
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't ever think of that before. Oh, I like
Me
that.
either.
Yeah, nice.
They call me the mouthpiece sometimes. It's like, say this.
Oh, that makes so much sense because there's so much put on the solstice and the angle of the sun and the direct ray coming through at a specific time.
Yeah.
That really makes
Yeah,
a lot of
because look at some of the cultures, and the only two that come to mind right now are the Mayan and the Egyptian, but I know that there are others, who have created those sun discs, sundials, and in their architecture, they've created portals that when the sun is at a specific time and place in the sky, then it sends through these rays that do whatever. So yeah, that would make sense.
Mhm.
Yeah. Specific time and place that the codes are different.
And I'm getting the trees. Don't forget about the trees.
Yes.
A lot of information there too. So
I have, and so how many times, and I'm talking to everybody who's listening, how many times have you taken pictures with your cell phone or camera or whatever of the sun coming through the trees? And there are all of these petals of colors. You've seen that, we call them orbs, right? But as you take a picture of the sun coming through the trees, there are all of these shapes and colors that happen. And so what would that be? That would be the sun and the trees interacting, putting their energies together to produce those particular codes. I think so. Makes sense to me anyway.
the light manifested is
Yeah.
what I feel.
Mhm. Yeah. I don't know. There's so much that we don't know.
Yes.
Well, we do know. There's so much that we are not conscious of, and sometimes choose to be not conscious of. So
That's another thing. Well, I've been getting a lot of information about the experience of separation from source, and how that we in a way we come down to experience that separation, and it's a very important part of our growth and our learning, and I guess that's all that I got from that, but but it's an important part to, and some people, and the main message that I get is that it's okay. It's it's people. It can be certain people's path to always experience separation, and
right.
that is what some people came to, or some beings came to experience, because separation from source is actually very rare. Experiencing a separation, because it's an illusion that that anything is separate, right? Experience a separation is from source, or a feeling of separation is a gift, because it allows this totally different experience and learning process, that we wouldn't have otherwise if we have all that.
Yeah, we sing that in our QHHT sessions, right? When we ask people, why did you choose that life experience? And they're like, it's just an experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
once you're in spirit, it's like no big deal that your head was chopped off, or
It's true.
It's like, oh, that happened.
Right.
This thing happened, and I'm not going to do that one again, but it happened, and that was interesting.
The things we
Very, very nonchalantly, this thing happened. I don't know why I wanted to do it, but I did it so I could check it off my list.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and so for me, separation is like that. We make agreements to be separated sometimes for one reason or another, and there should not be any judgment, from other human beings as to why we chose to be separate.
Yes.
Because it's our experience.
Yes, absolutely. And there's not, it's an easy way to, well, I say easy. It's an easy way to experience yourself in how do I want to word that? Because everything is ourself. There's nothing outside of us. It's all one. So it gets a little tricky to experience yourself when you're just one. If that makes sense. So the only way to have an experience with yourself is, well, in this reality, I suppose, is that illusion of separation, so that we can have a relationship with ourselves. That's another aspect of source.
Yeah. So I had back a very, very long time ago. This reminds me, they want me to share it. So back a very, very long time ago, I was working with a sister who worked with archangels. and at that time and place, I won't say I was angry at angels, but I was dismissive of the angelic. Dismissive is a better word, of the angelic realm. It's like, I know they exist, and why should I be interested in that? And so she was also very intuitively gifted, and she kind of smirked and said, that you are one, right? And I'm like, get out of here, And so so we did a little exercise. She took me through a mini hypnosis of sorts, a journey. And there's an analogy. I can't describe the entire process, but there's an analogy that I like to use when I describe it. So for those of you who have ever watched Frankenstein, but the what is he was a comedian. What was his name?
Oh, is it Young Frankenstein?
Young Frankenstein. Yeah, Young Frankenstein. So for those of you, Mel Brooks, yeah. So for those of you that ever, and if you haven't watched it, you have to go watch it. So there was a scene in there where he asked his assistants to lock him in the room with Frankenstein, right? I mean, with the monster. Dr. Frankenstein asked them to lock him in the room with the monster. And he told them, no matter what happens, no matter what I say, no matter how much I beg and plead, do not open the door, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a time when Frankenstein was just ready to rip him into shreds, and he's beating the door closed. And opened the door, and his assistants were on the outside going, he told us not to open the door, so we can't open it,
Right.
Yeah, so that was the analogy for my for my helpers and my angelic family, was that I told them before I came to this dimensional reality, no matter what happens, do not rescue me. Do not interfere, right? No matter how much I beg and plead, do not interfere. And so here I am, or there I was in my young life going, what the hell? Get me out of here. Why do you have me here? Why am I doing this? And they're up there going, she said not to interfere.
No matter what.
No matter what, she said, don't interfere. So, it reminded me, stop blaming them,
Yeah.
stop getting mad at God, stop blaming the angels, stop saying, if they really loved me, I wouldn't be here going through this, stop blaming something outside of yourself for what you're going through, because it's all you. Whatever you're going through, you set it up in order to learn a lesson, to repay a debt, to just have an experience, or maybe to contribute to someone else's experience. You made that sacrifice for someone else to learn and grow. But for whatever reason, no one has abandoned us. Sometimes we told them, no matter how much I beg and plead, no matter how much I curse and swear, do not interfere in my process. And they're honoring our request.
Yes, and you have to actively ask for them to work with you. It has to be okay. I don't feel that I started having that connection until I directly said, I'm ready for you to actively work with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Or using the Hall of Records pattern, right? You can go back and change those agreements.
Absolutely.
You can go back and say, I've learned this lesson. I'm consciously now choosing to change this agreement,
Yeah. And another thing that I actually, the other day I was just sitting there and I got this message, and it goes, sort of goes along with this. So they were said that the message that I got was, why do you put so much emphasis? They said, why do you care about how you're feeling? Why do you put so much emphasis on how you feel? And I didn't realize how much I was analyzing so often of, oh, I feel sad. Oh, I feel depressed. Oh, I shouldn't be feeling this way. And then I'll get depressed for being depressed and sad for being sad. And I didn't realize I was doing that to myself. And what they explained to me was that it's perfectly okay. I think there was a programming that was removed at that time for me. And I imagine for a lot of us, because as children, we're told, don't cry, don't be upset, don't do this. You're not allowed to feel like that. And I think it's a big programming that is very helpful to not have programming yourself anymore. And so they lifted that off, and I realized how much emphasis I was feeling. So it almost allows me to, oh, I'm feeling depressed. Okay, what's this all about? And I more so go into it, discover what it's about, more of an allowing. And it's like, since I've done that, it's allowed more joy in my life. And it's not as intense. It's not as heavy of a feeling. And they said the thing that they brought to my attention was, what if you were just happy? Because a lot of people say, I just want to be happy. And that's all I want. I just want to be happy. But what would that reality look like? It would be pretty boring. If you were just happy. It would be one note. And we're not here for that. We're here for an orchestra of experiences.
That's true. I know there are times in my reality when I will say, I just want peace. I just want to be at peace. I just want peace and quiet. And that's a reminder. Yeah. We have to experience the whole orchestra.
Yeah. And apparently it's really important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something to consider. Well, what else are they talking to you about?
Just explaining that there is only one. We're all working our way back. We don't have to be in a rush to work our way back. We will go back to source. Everything will go back to source. And there doesn't need to be, as you say, a timeline, because there isn't time, this construct.
Right.
So
but
there
as
is
humans, we have to identify and name things. As humans,
Yes.
It makes us feel better. So,
Yes. Yes. And that each experience is very important. We as souls are our own thumbprint. We have our own specific vibration that we hold. That's our soul. And that can never be taken away. I don't know what that has to do with anything else, but that's what they're saying. That can never be taken away.
Well, but that makes sense, because there are those programs out there. They call them soul snatchers. Have you never heard that term? Soul snatchers? Yeah. So there is a program out there that not only soul snatchers, but in the way of soul contracts, selling your soul to the devil. You've heard that one, right?
Yes. Yes.
Selling your soul to the dark side. And then there are even programs out there about people who have sold their descendants into
what?
That there's
oh my gosh.
There's stuff out there. Anyway, so there's even something out there about where you have sold the souls of your descendants into this slavery with the dark side. I won't mention the group, but yeah, I've heard that in relationship to one particular group, that the people who have joined that particular group have also signed a contract with the dark for their descendants. And I call bullshit on it, right? Because we are all individual sovereign beings who choose our own path and our own experiences. And so there are a lot of programs and fears out there. So I guess your counsel needed everyone else's counsel to hear and remember that we are sovereign beings and no one owns our soul, right?
Yes. No. And it can never be broken. It's never, it's you, it's your specific vibrational thumbprint. It is always with you.
It's so funny how people will say, I sold my soul. Well, how much did you get for it? Because it's a null and void contract. I'm sure the person on the other side of that sale is going, what happened? Where did it go? There's no soul here. Where's my product? Because you can't sell something like that. It's eternal. Yeah. It is funny, the programs that we have in place. And sometimes we were the designer of those programs because we played all the parts, right?
Yes.
So sometimes one of us is the one who coined that phrase, sell your soul. I don't know who it was, and I'm not going to claim it.
that first person.
I'm not claiming that one.
They had a lot of
but there was someone who coined that phrase, selling your soul.
And now that it's it may be a thing since there's more energy being put into it. So I'd be hesitant to I'm not brave enough to do
You're
that.
not playing in that sandbox. No.
No, absolutely not.
You guys have fun. I'm not playing in that sandbox in this reality. Yeah. So what's next for you in the way of growth? What's next for you and what you're offering to humanity to help them?
Well, I'm going to continue the quantum healing. I guess I'm working on channeling in all ways. Mediumship.
It's 11:11 right now.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's so special. That's another thing, is this physical realm, I've been told, is extremely unique and special. And there's not, while it may not be the only physical realm, it's not very common of a thing. And so there's a lot of souls and beings that want to experience what it's like to be in a physical realm, because it's a very different experience than it is to be outside of a body.
Yeah.
And that it's mostly outside of the body. That's most of our experience. Only a little time per se. Only eons of time in a physical body. So I suppose I'll be working, continuing. I really enjoy this channeling a lot. It's so amazing, and I feel so good after I do this. And so I am always one to want to share that spark, that light, that magic that is here all the time. And so that's what QHHT is perfect for, is because I'm not forcing anything on anybody. It's from their own source, which I think is so important. So just continue on that.
Yeah, I think Dolores designed a beautiful tool to help other people connect to their own, without interference. And
and to
I'm
have
sure there are other programs out there that do something similar, but but I really enjoy using her process, her tool.
Oh, sure. However we get there, right?
Huh?
However we get there.
However we get there. Yeah, because it doesn't work for everybody.
No, that's right. That's true.
So do you have, I forgot to ask if you have a website. Do you have a website?
I don't. And I've been told that I need to get one.
Okay. All right.
They're telling me, you better
start. Because when I post this, I post your about me, your small bio, and then I'll also say some ways to contact you. So what I have right now is your QHHT page and your email address.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, that's enough. Okay.
That's an easy way to contact me.
And yeah. anything else that you want to share with people?
No, I think that was a lot of it. I feel it. You see how my cheeks are really, really rosy? There's a lot of energy going on in there. It feels really good. It's like, woo.
And it's so funny because when we talked about you coming on, you were like, I don't know what I have to share. I want you to go back and watch this, okay? Because you do have a lot to share. And I find it with a lot of people that they don't think that they do anything unique, you know, because we all think that what we're doing is that everybody does it, you know. Well, everybody can do this. That is true. Everybody can do it, but everybody's not doing it, you know, and so it is important to share. I mean, I have conversations with people all day long, not all day long, not literally all day long, but like when I'm setting up at the vendor shows or doing light galleries or, you know, having a talk with or people you meet in the grocery store, right? So you just have these one-off conversations, and I'm always amazed at what people say they don't know, and in the same conversation, the things that they share.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the things that come out of their mouth that they think is usual and normal. And I'm looking at them going, do you think everybody knows that? Not everybody knows that, you know, and you should share that more often, you know. But yeah, I think it's important for us to share, because although we come from the same source, we came here with different experiences, and we came in a human being form so that we could communicate and share and mirror each other and bounce codes off each other and play ping pong with those codes, you know. So I think it's important that we do communicate and share, and people can either take that information or they can say, not today. I mean, there's a lot of things that I see on the World Wide Web, and my choice is not today, you know. not today. I can't buy that program, not today. But that doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean that 5 years down the road or even 5 minutes down the road, I might go, well, wait a minute, there's an aspect of that I might can align with, you know, when I get past my judgments and my fears or whatever. So it's important for us to say it, to share it, and then people can make their own determination of whether or not there's a piece of that or all of it that they want to say, well, wait a minute, I never thought about that before. That might be a possibility that I want to expand into. Or they listen to it and go, well, I definitely don't believe in that, you know. So it's still a mirror for them. It's still a benefit for them to listen to a perspective and go, no, I'm pretty sure that my perspective is the one I want to hold on to. So it just reinforces, you know, that reinforces that for them, that they are listening, that they are firm in who they are, and they don't have to buy someone else's perspective or program.
Yes. And that law of free will, when I first started coming into that awareness, oh my gosh, it was overwhelmingly scary.
Yeah.
But now that I'm on this, wherever I'm at, wherever that is, it's so empowering to have that awareness of the law of free will. So that's it
kind of takes a chip out of the ego too, doesn't it?
Yeah,
takes a chip out of the blame and shame. It takes a chip out of the, you know, takes the chip out of being wounded.
Yes.
You know, and being a victim.
And realizing I don't have to do any of that. I can just choose whatever.
Yeah. And that's hard for someone to hear who's right in the middle of it. And I
Yes,
understand that.
absolutely.
It's hard to hear for someone who's right in the middle of that situation, that they think there's no way out. And, you know, I'll never climb out of this, but there is a way to do everything. You hear it all day long. You hear stories of people, of miracles that have happened in people's lives. And I mean, people who were on the street and now they're a billionaire, you know, or people who had terminal cancer and now they're sharing their process, you know, where they completely removed cancer out of their body. I mean, you know, we think that we are suffering, and there's a reason why we chose that program.
Yeah.
And sometimes the suffering ends in death, which is our release from the program.
Yes.
You know, it's just another form of release from the program. Sometimes we choose to suffer like that as our exit point, you know.
Yes. I've dealt with suicidal ideation for a long time, and it just seemed like it was just a part of me. And then finally, probably, I feel so silly not for doing this earlier, but a couple months ago, I was like, do I really have to have this? It is so painful to have this in whatever it is. And so I asked if it could be removed or at least lessened. And oh my gosh, it's been great.
Ask and ye shall receive, right?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
But having that, how because everything that we endure, all of our downsides, all of our hardships, all of those serve a purpose. So when you look back at that, what purpose did that serve?
Oh, compassion. Absolutely. Compassion for that. Because it's just, I can relate to that pain. And it may be not exactly, but especially in, you know, as a nurse, we tend to build so many walls over ourselves because we see a lot and we get tired of seeing things over and over. And that compassion well dries up. But I never wanted that to happen. I always I've known that I need that compassion element, because of, I guess, what I want to do, why I came here. So that's what's been so important. I think it's that connection, but I realize I don't have to hold on to that pain to be compassionate.
Right.
I can let that go.
You just needed a source of reference, right? I call it a source of reference, like the things that I experienced in my young childhood, doing QHHT and doing this work that I do helped me to break through my resentment, my feeling of being a victim. It helped me break through that, realizing I signed up for that assignment in order so that I would have a source of reference. Because in my early work, and still in some ways, I only worked with women, and most of them that came to me had endured a version of what I had endured. And without having endured that, I would have no source of reference. I would have no way of helping them to come out of the victim role that they were playing.
Absolutely.
Over and over again. And so we choose sometimes our early experiences so that we can help others.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. That's what I came to do.
Yeah.
But I know I
Yeah.
can't force it. I can't, all I can be is me, and hopefully that is what helps.
Well, but can you conceive that whenever you had that experience, you acknowledged the experience, you said, check, done it, right?
Mhm.
Don't need that in my energy fields anymore.
Yes.
That now what you are emitting, and so one of my sisters, when she was in school to be a social worker, when she went to college and she was going through classes, she shared an experience with me, something she learned or something they taught in the class that sometimes, well, their thing was all the time anyway. I'm talking double here. So they said that, or the professor was saying that when someone experiences trauma, sexual trauma in particular, as a child, that his way of putting it was they have victim stamped across their forehead. And that, and I'm just going to say this, I don't agree with it. No one has to agree with it, but I'm telling a story here. So his perception was that you have victim stamped across your head. And sometimes when we grow up, we wonder, why do all these sick sexual men always gravitate toward me? Right. And, what am I doing that all of these men, are attracted to me? I don't want that in my life. Well, the professor's explanation was that the energetic, invisible victim across your forehead, that they zone in on that and they go, oh yeah, well, she's been there. So where were they going with this? So once you remove that, right? Once you remove that victim, and we remove it in different ways. Sometimes you don't even have to do anything. Sometimes there's an expiration date on the victim, tag. Sometimes you only agreed to experience that for a particular reason, and then it doesn't serve a purpose anymore, and you don't experience it. And I'm still forgetting why they had me bring that up. What were we talking about?
My thought is that you can remove it. It doesn't
Right.
have to be there.
Right. Oh, so she was saying, I know where I was going with it. She was saying that, sometimes the students would get together and have parties, celebrations. And at this one particular celebration, she said there were several people in the room, and she said the door opened and this one young woman walked in, one of the others, a guest, I don't know. So this one young woman walked in, and as she walked in, several of the men in the room turned and zoned in on her.
Oh,
right?
wow.
There was nothing that she did, no particular way she was dressed.
Yeah.
But my friend said at that moment, I totally understood what the professor had said about having victims stamped across your forehead, because those, and it was men, she said those men instantly knew that she walked in the room.
Wow.
And so they zoned in on her. She said, and I watched it play out, She said, I was horrified, but I watched to see that play out. And so we emit those frequencies and those vibrations to people, and we bounce off each other and play those parts that we need for one purpose or another, right?
Yes.
And so whenever we are out in public, all of us, we are emitting those vibrations to magnetize, or to what's the other word? Shield us.
Oh, yeah,
either
yeah.
to magnify but there's another word, either to magnetize or demagnetize, I don't know what you call it, those experiences from us. And I've heard that side of it too, and I experience that when I'm out in public. I'm like, la, 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 and there are things going around me sometimes that someone will say, oh my God, did you see do and do, did you see this happen? And I'm like, no, I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. It wasn't, I wasn't in that particular vibration, although it was right there, within feet of me. I never even knew that it was occurring. I mean, I had that happen at one of the vendor shows.
Yeah.
And all that I knew was people started coming to my booth going, I need a rattle. Can I have a rattle? And I said, why do you need a rattle? I need to break up this energy over here that just happened. And it was like 3 tables down from me.
What?
And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, what energy that just happened? You didn't hear that went on just now? You didn't hear that argument and that? And I'm like, no. I didn't hear anything. I didn't feel anything. I didn't, But so sometimes we are shielded from those energies because our agreement is not to participate. And then sometimes we are part of it because our agreement is to participate.
Yes.
I have no idea where any of that went, what the purpose of that was, but apparently somebody needed to hear it. And thank you. You're welcome. Whatever it was. And if you didn't need to hear it, just ignore it. Sometimes I share random things and people are going, what the hell is that about? Where did that come from? I don't know. You're welcome. Yeah. Crazy. Well, I know that people, you mentioned that you weren't quite sure that you were ready to channel for people. I do know that people who were in your early testing program, your early moments of perfecting it and working with it and finding out what is this and how do I use it and how does it help people. I know that people in the community who participated in that were just blown away. And I received one of those. Thank you very much. And and I know that people were just blown away by the amount of information that your channel gave. And some of those were healings. And so I do hope that you keep doing that. I do hope that you that you choose to expand that and to begin to offer it on a bigger platform.
Oh, thank you. I would love that if that's my path. I really enjoy just being a witness. I kind of just take a step back.
Yeah. Because when you're, because for me, when I'm channeling or when I'm doing light language, it's like I'm over here watching it or listen. I can hear it, and sometimes as I'm listening to the other me transmit light language, sometimes this me over here is going, that's unusual. haven't heard that dialect before, or why is she doing that? That's kind of odd, And so there's the two of me, the one doing it and the one sitting over here, the ego over here going, that's weird, but and it's so funny because sometimes the ego part of me over here goes, I wonder if anybody saw that. Are they going to think she's weird because she's doing? I mean, I have all of these, the ego is going, how many people are going to unfriend her because of what she just said, And then this part of me is going, don't give a fuck.
Yep.
So yeah. I saw a meme on Facebook just this morning, I think. Yeah, and it was like it was SpongeBob. And so the caption said, so there was one SpongeBob over here and 4 other SpongeBobs over here. And so the caption said, if you think you like my current personality, wait till you meet the other 4. So I thought, oh, that's kind of accurate. Only mine is, mine is maybe the one. I don't know. I probably have others. I'm sure I have others. So is that how you perceive it whenever you're channeling, that there's a part of you that's sitting over here just observing it?
It's funny because I experienced it in different scenarios. So the other day, which there's no way I would make this up in my mind because I would be scared, but they had me sitting over here with a blindfold on, like on the side with a blindfold, because I'm extremely visual. And what they told me was it was so that I wouldn't see anything and just let the not, I guess, voice, I say that, but the vibration come through. And they've been working on my throat. My throat's been really sore. And so anyway, I was sitting on the side with the blindfold on, and I would be scared, but they said it's because you're so visual. So today I was sitting on the beach, and they were like, "Here, you can do this for a little bit." Oh, okay.
Go sit on the beach in Hawaii and just observe.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool.
Go over there and watch the crazy show that's going to happen, because we can guarantee you it's going to be a little wacky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. Well, I'm really glad that you joined us. I enjoyed it. I always enjoy it. So Jennnifer and I chat all the time. And so I'm glad that you all were able to witness our chat. Because we have these, but it gets crazier when there's no audience, though. Jennnifer usually shares some things with me, and I'm going, for real, that's a thing. And it's hard to freak me out. Sometimes Jennnifer really expands me, and I'm going, wow, Jennnifer, that was an amazing experience, And so,
when I said I'm just gonna go with it, it really just went.
Yeah. But it was good. It was good. It was absolutely good. And so I thank all of you for joining us, and I hope that you join us again. And us have a whole lineup of amazing people who want to come in and share. And so I hope that you keep checking back. And I'm going to put away for you. I'm not going to put away. I'm going to add a way for you to contact Jennnifer in case you want to have QHHT or channeling. If she's feeling up to offering those mediumship sessions. And so are you still doing Reiki, or does that just kind of flow into everything you're doing?
It does. I think it was the beginning of understanding energy and the flow and feeling it through me. But yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because I don't offer Reiki as a standalone session. It just sort of comes in if it needs to come in.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm going to put those links for Jennnifer on the bottom of the podcast, the bottom of the episode for her. And I hope that you contact her and get some of her good juju. And I hope that you click follow so that you get notified whenever we have a new upload. And I hope that you consider becoming a patron to help me pay for these ventures that we're on here. So I'm going to stop the recording. Jennnifer, don't hang up. We'll see all of you on the next podcast.